The Elgato Prompter is the best budget teleprompter on the market. But should you actually buy it? Do not make a mistake here. Let me help you either spend the best $279 in your video studio or save $279 to buy something else. I'm Luria Petrucci from Live Streaming Pros. Let me break it down. There are two parts to a good teleprompter. Number one, the hardware, and number two, the software. And as a bonus, number three, accessories, because accessories. Now, if you did not see my first video on this device, I highly recommend watching that after this video for some additional context as to why I'm calling this the best budget prompter on the market. That link is in the description. For this video, though, I'm going to stay focused on who should buy it and who should not. Now, the reality is that actually depends on your use case. What are you using a prompter for exactly? Here are some options, and some of you may not have thought about. Actual scripting, where you are reading word for word on the screen itself. Or maybe you're using bullet points instead of a script just to keep you focused on delivering that value you want to provide and not chasing squirrels. Or as a confidence monitor, maybe you're putting your broadcast window on the prompter so you can see exactly what the stream viewers are seeing. Or maybe you have the browser on the prompter so you can see what you're demoing in a video without looking away. How about as an interview monitor so that you can see your guests or co-hosts while you're talking to them? Or as a zoom window so you're looking your attendees in the eye instead of having to look super awkwardly way down here and never talk to them directly. Or as a chat window so you can read stream chats from the prompter directly. I mean, there are so many uses for a prompter, so always think about what your specific needs are. Now, the Elgato Prompter's magic is in the hardware, so let's start there. You should buy the Elgato Prompter if, number one, ease of use is more important to you than professional features. The assembly and mounting of this device is by far the easiest I have ever dealt with. If you're going to set it and forget it, this is a great solution for you. Number two, if you love buying into the Elgato ecosystem, you have a bunch of other Elgato products, you're gonna find this to be very simple and very easy to use with their product line. But also note that you can use this with other non-Elgato products like other mounting gear, for example. Number three, the fact that this device has 0 buttons on it, 0 options other than plug and play. Very Apple-like in that way. It is fantastic for most entrepreneurs, video creators, course creators, webinar scenarios, etc., etc. If you want to focus more time and effort on doing your uniquely awesome thing rather than dealing with the tech, then this is definitely for you. However, from a hardware perspective, you should not buy this prompter if, number one, you're going to be consistently moving this thing around for different set backgrounds and recording scenarios. While it is easy to mount, you are going to get frustrated because it easily comes off if you're constantly moving the camera around. Number two, if you want to stand further away from the camera, this is not the most ideal prompter for you because the monitor is only 9 inches, which is on the smaller side of prompters and is really only meant for mounting on your desk or standing close to it. Now, I can actually read this thing from up to 17 feet away, which blows my mind. It is clear at 80 to 100 point text size, but the scroll speed just is not fast enough for that text size. I'm going to explain more about that in a minute. Number three, if you're standing further away from the prompter, you're probably using this in a more professional use case. And by that, I mean a bigger production with a bigger budget, and you're likely to have more people from your team there during the video shoot or live stream or event. You likely want more controls. You might need various inputs like HDMI or VGA. Yes, still VGA sometimes. You might be splitting signals. Maybe you need longer cables than is included or that you can easily get, etc., etc. I have done personally a lot of this kind of production over the last 18 years, and a lot of our clients who we build professional video studios for also need this level of production. So if you need this, the Elgato Prompter is not for you, or at least not for that scenario. Keep in mind, when you're building your video studio for streaming, recording video, webinars, Zoom calls, virtual events, you should have the best gear that makes it easy to get professional quality. My on-demand course helps you choose the right gear for your needs step by step. That link is in the description, livestreamingpros.com/studio. Now, let's move on to the second part of this conversation, the software. It's called Camera Hub, which does more than just prompting. You should buy the Elgato Prompter from a software perspective if, number one, you want super simple software. If you can't tell, that is the name of the game with this prompter. You do not have to buy additional software because, after all, the good prompting softwares do cost and usually are at least a one-time fee, if not a yearly subscription. Using Elgato's Camera Hub software means that the prompter software is free. However, you should not buy this prompter if you want more controls and more capability with your prompting software. The Elgato Camera Hub does not allow you to do things like multiple scripts saved at the same time. You can load in only one at a time. While you can add emojis and chapter breaks, and while you can change font and font size and colors and even change the amount of margin, you will not get things like the ability to scroll backwards dynamically, meaning you can see it scrolling back and forth like you see here instead of jumping chapter breaks, which I'll explain in a second. You can't add also a cue indicator in Camera Hub to keep your eyes focused in the middle of the screen, which helps avoid the issue of looking like you're reading from a prompter. In Camera Hub, you can skip backwards or forwards to the top of chapters only. Now, that is super beneficial for pickups at the start of a paragraph when you mess up, but you can't fine-tune the location of where you're backing up to. And when you copy paste a script into Camera Hub software, you're actually going to need to go through and create the chapters manually. A paragraph break does not equal a chapter. Number two, if you read pretty fast, unfortunately, Camera Hub is gonna frustrate you, at least for now until they update the speed. You see, when it comes to prompting software and you looking natural reading from it, there is a magic balance between the text size, the scrolling speed, and your distance from the prompter. In this case, even when the text size is smaller and scrolls faster, if you're too close to it, your eyes reading side to side will actually be very obvious, distracting the viewer from what you're saying. And when you are close, you want bigger text, and when the text is big, it starts to scroll slower. So at the end of the day, if you're a fast reader, the hardware may still work for you, but you're gonna wanna at least use a different prompter software. I go way deeper into how to look natural reading from a prompter with some super secret tricks I learned after 18 years of prompting while working on multi-million-dollar productions for companies like Panasonic, Monster Cable, and Samsung, as well as right here at my desk. You'll find that in this video, and you won't find those tips anywhere else on YouTube. This is an amazing prompter for the right use case, and likely that is you. And if you want to use Stream Deck or the pedal to control the software, accessories can be a big plus to this Elgato setup. Check out the playlist of tips and tutorials here, and tell me in the comments below, are you a hell yes to buying this prompter or not?